When I was a baby, I never spoke. I never cried. I never went to the bathroom. As I progressed through life until I got to the age of 6, my father bought me a PlayStation 2 that came with a fresh copy of Resident Evil 4. I held it in my hands and said, "What the hell is this? This isn't Star Wars 2 for the Nintendo 64. Because that's what I played before I ever knew what a PlayStation was. Before I played, I was like this. And after the first 5 minutes of playing, I looked like this. 6-year-olds shouldn't even be playing this game. Thank you, Dad, for the drama. The year is 1999. Capcom had just released Resident Evil 3 and business was booming. Capcom was sitting at their meeting table and pondered, how can we top this? What can we do to really change the game of Resident Evil? Well, at first they said these 2 games, but after that, someone said, what if we made it a third-person over-the-shoulder camera with a perfectly mixed blend of survival horror and action? Except no one said that at all. At least not yet. At first they said, let's make a spooky game in a spooky castle with a third-person over-the-shoulder and fixed camera angles, with a spooky fog monster, and a spooky man with a hook hand that can walk through walls, and a section where Leon trips balls and has dolls come after him with little doll knives. Yes! That sounds good! Silent Hill vibes with a Resident Evil atmosphere! They scrapped it. All of it. On a technicality level, this was all seemingly impossible to pull off altogether. With the technology at the time, each of these enemy variants caused their own set of problems. They couldn't use the fog monster because the PlayStation system specs were too low at the time to render it during gameplay, and would cause this laggy mess. And they couldn't use the Hookman because it had too many mechanics and, quite frankly, just an experimental enemy to test their hallucination system. Same thing with the dolls. It was almost like Resident Evil 4 was a mere prototype game, therefore calling it Resident Evil 3.5. As much as I love Resident Evil 4 how it is today, and it being my all-time favorite game, I often think about what kind of game we could have had if 3.5 was never scrapped. But I guess we'll never know. From the seemingly never-ending Hell Express ride to the depths of a non-welcoming village whose folk really hate Americans, Leon is back. And I'm sure you've seen the memes. The man, the myth, the guy they send out to Eastern Europe with only a pistol and some herbs. And though he made appearances in the previous titles, we actually haven't got to play as him since Resident Evil 2, way back in 1998. Unless you had Game Boy Color back in the day and played Resident Evil Gaiden. Which, I wasn't even capable of picking up anything at that time, but nonetheless, it was nice to see his return. As technology got better, so did Leon. He's been given a huge facelift to really give off the secret agent look by equipping him with only a handgun and some herbs. I'm sorry, no, I'm done. Okay, I'm done with that meme. Okay, I'm serious. I'm serious! His first assignment as a secret agent is to find the president's daughter who's been kidnapped by an unknown group of people held up somewhere in this rural part of Europe. So what does Leon do? He barges into someone's home, absolutely flatlines him because dude was only defending himself because there was some foreigner in his home, and massacres an entire village and claims something has happened to the people!
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
A lot of Leon's behavior could actually be excused due to the negative vibes the village gives off. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something definitely gives it away. Well, since all the villagers are dead, may as well take what they left behind. Bozos. Leon S. Kennedy. I will kill your whole livestock and plumage your villages if it means completing my mission. Because here in the United States, if you are not American, then you are simply not human, and therefore an enemy. Now where the hell is the next typewriter? I know video games can't be perfect, but the more I play this game, and the more I start to really focus on my surroundings, the more I start to question the environment. For example, why does this box have handgun ammo, yet no one in the village uses guns? What was the shotgun for? Decoration? You had ammo for it. No one pulled it off the wall while Leon was invading your village. Why are there flashbangs in wooden boxes? Why are there herbs in wooden boxes? Why are there snakes in wooden boxes? With no air holes! Where are your toilets? I get that this is Europe and this game takes place in 2004, so it would make sense that Europe at that time didn't have much at their disposal. But no outhouses? Maybe a bucket? A well? But here's what I love about video games. Nothing has to make sense at all. When you have that kind of power as a developer, you have the ball. Now the question is, in an environmental standpoint, if you ignore ammo in boxes and birds dropping grenades on death, does the ball swish or miss when it comes to an environment set in Europe in a Resident Evil game? It swishes hard. Like, damn, it swishes hard. There's only one other game that made me feel this immersed in an environment with amazing ambience and atmosphere, and that game was Metal Gear Solid 3. The sounds of the jungle as you would sneak your way into enemy bases. The camouflage system. God, I remember changing camouflage every like 10 steps so I can stay above 90% camouflage rating. And the hunger system, because if Snake was hungry, it would alert the guards because his stomach was as loud as Hiroshima, so you had to eat what was at your disposal. Oh man, my stamina's looking pretty low. Hey, that looks pretty tasty.
Well, it was poisonous!
It's poisonous.
Anytime you were shot, you had to actually go into a menu and perform surgery on yourself to extract that bullet out. It felt like I was actually looking after Snake as I played. I could make a whole video just on that game if I wanted to, it's so damn good! I know it'll never happen without the aid of emulation, but I would pay top dollar for this game to be ported over to PC with full mouse and keyboard support. But back to Resident Evil. The ambience in this game was so eerie that it kept you on your toes at all times, with the wind howling as you walk through what used to be a healthy and civilized society, into this now cold and desolate world where everything wants to kill you, and nothing can be trusted, therefore leaving you to fend off alone. Just listen to this ambience, man. Capcom has always done a pretty good job with their sound design. From the weapons, to the reloads, to the iconic soundtracks. It's not often that I sit back in a video game and actually sit there and take in the ambience. The last game to make me do that was Cyberpunk. And as awful as it was when it came out, I gotta give it to Project Red. The atmosphere in that game is just beautiful. Oh, and I can't forget The Witcher 3, but that's just cause I'm a huge fantasy nerd. Another example was Resident Evil 8, but it was only in the safe room with the Duke while the safe music was playing because it was very reminiscent to Resident Evil 4. Other than that was about it. If a game can really suck me into the universe, that's how you know it's a good game. Video games love castles. It's a monument of exploration, begging for all its secrets to be discovered by the player. But what happens when a castle is home to dozens upon dozens of Los Illuminados whose goal is to hunt you down and not stop until you are nothing but glass?
Shoot them all and let God sort them out.
Okay, let's go.
The castle is my second favorite part in this game, allowing you to explore what seems like an endless death trap around every corner. Paintings are scattered across the walls almost everywhere. And back in 2005 on the GameCube, while the paintings may have looked okay back in the day, they were completely ravaged with the passing of time. Skip to 2022 and us PC players have been given the most almighty glorious mod that has ever been made. The HD Project. These guys have completely revamped the textures on everything while still maintaining the original art style, giving the castle the textures it deserves. And the reason why I want to talk about the castle is mainly because of this mod. And it's not just the castle that's been affected, it's everywhere. But I think this mod exceptionally shines during this section of the game. All the yellows and blues and purples just pop out in this huge environment like it should, and just fits perfectly in a title like Resident Evil. Hell, even the flooring is just clean. I can't believe they spent 8 years on this thing. And it's free! God bless the modding community. Let's see the PlayStation 5's HD project. Let's see Paul Allen's HD project. I can remember when I first found the HD mod while it was still in development, and that was when they had only finished the first chapter 2 years ago. and me being the Resident Evil fanboy that I am, you can bet that I've been following it ever since. And since its release, I had to give this game yet another playthrough. The castle also introduces one of the most creepiest enemy variants in any RE title. He may not be able to see you, but my god, if there's a single bell sound, then it is on sight! The way its claws come out like Wolverine, and what seems like an out-of-control monster, only keeping it in check in a prison cell. Its only attack is to just swing until it hits something in its path. And if you get in the way of its fatality move, all I have to say is, good luck getting out of this one yourself, Ashley. This is my second favorite enemy in the game. The first one I'm sure everyone knows. Can I just devote an entire section of the video to this one specific enemy variant? Of course I can, because boy do I have a lot to say about this thing! It's not until you reach the island section of the game, and you come across a very tall, seemingly lifeless creature lying on an operating table. And the sound that plays when this happens just gives you unsettling vibes right from the get-go. Alright, I don't know what this thing is, but I really hope that it doesn't come alive. Oh shit! Out of all the survival horror games I've played in my lifetime, I have never encountered anything this frightening. I would lay bullets into this thing, and it just kept absorbing them like a sponge. And when I think I did something by blowing off one of its limbs, you can kiss your hopes of weakening it goodbye because he just got a new one! I don't know who in the animation team was behind this, but the way it walks towards you while that unsettling soundtrack is blaring until you are either dead or until you somehow manage to lay enough firepower into it. Wait, is he running now? If you do manage to pump it with enough hot lead, it blows up only the upper torso while its legs are still functioning and continues to walk towards you. I genuinely thought when I first played this that it was just going to grow back a new torso and continue to wreak carnage on me. That was until the Nightmare soundtrack came to a complete halt and he dissolved into little bubbles. Such a satisfying sound. After the first 3 regenerators, you gain access to the freezer room, which holds an infrared scope that allows you to actually see the weak spots on them, making them way easier to kill and saving you much more ammo. Unless one of the weak spots is on their back. And if they have spikes on their body, and oh my god, his arms are stretchy! It's not as iconic as, say, the Licker, but it's definitely more dangerous when it comes to extreme durability and strength. Capcom tried bringing back the Regenerator in later titles, but they weren't as intimidating as this original beast. I wanted to save the best topic for last before I wrap things up. As you progress through RE4, enemies tend to get stronger, dealing more damage and reacting faster than your puny villager. And to combat this, you need some pep in your step when it comes to better weaponry. Your little handgun and shotgun just isn't enough when you're facing chainsaw-wielding, boulder-throwing, metal-bending, face-eating, flesh-poking, I have no idea what the hell this is, turret-snatching, acid-spitting, blood-sucking, sanity-stealing, axe-wielding, with flesh-poking, tadpole, heartbreaking, sample-stealing enemies. And lucky for us, we can get better firepower, at a reasonable price. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the Merchant.
Over here, stranger.
A mystery man in shady clothing that seems to follow us and avoid trouble wherever he goes. He shows up pretty early in the game after Leon's jacket has been stolen and Lewis escapes and somehow manages to get past all of this! You get your first attaché case upgrade that allows more room for all your necessities, whether that be handgun bullets or grenades or all kinds of sorts. You're ready to stock up even further. Tune up. That's right. Not only can he sell you more weapons and accept your own treasures for PTAS, however it's pronounced, but he's also a walking workbench, allowing you to upgrade weapons of your choosing, if you have the coin. You may only have enough money for one upgrade, so you ask yourself, do I want more ammo capacity for my handgun? Or do I want more firepower for my shotgun? The ball is in your hands. Whatever choice you make is sure to be in your favor somehow. As you get further along, he will offer new weaponry and better upgrades, and after about a couple of hours in, you can really feel your enemies going down in a more rapid succession, with weapons that truly feel like they were made to take down a large group of Ganados. And not only that, the soundtrack that plays while you're browsing his wares puts you at a calming ease. You know nothing can get you here once you see that blue torch. Take a minute to manage your inventory and put your ammo over where the ammo goes and not where the health goes. You are safe. There's a lot of mystery when it comes to the Merchant. Like, really, who is he? And why does he carry such an arsenal of weapons, and why is he selling to Leon? How does he manage to get to places before Leon ever arrives? What's under that dark hood of his? I know he's only supposed to act as an upgrade system for our weapons and storage, but I can't help but just question his character and his motives. I love Resident Evil 4. It will always be my favorite RE title and my all-time favorite game. It has gone on to inspire many third-person shooters with its sharp mechanics and intriguing map design. It still has an active community in speedrunning, and many players, including myself, still casually play it on a regular basis. This is my childhood. It shaped my taste in many horror games today, and the talk about maybe a remake coming gives me an uneasy feeling. I mean, I'm excited to see RE4 modernized with the newest mechanics and the gorgeous graphics the RE engine delivers. Of course I'm gonna play it if it's a real. But after playing the RE3 remake and seeing just how much content was cut from the original, breaks my heart as a fan of the series. Even if you're not a fan of Resident Evil, I'm sure people can agree with me when you remake a game, it should be as closest to the original as possible with extra content added. The RE1 remake perfectly executed this by simply vamping up the graphics with a more modern look and adding loads of new areas and weapons into the game. And though I'm not the biggest fan of tank controls mixed with fixed camera angles, I hear some RE players actually prefer the RE remake over RE4. I think even if the RE4 remake is real and I do end up playing it, no matter how good it may be, I think I will always end up choosing the original over it. Just because it holds a special place in my heart for nostalgia, and gives me so many memories of my dad and I. We would leave the console on overnight because we didn't know when the next safe room would come up, and we were afraid we would die and lose all of our progress, so we would go to sleep and pick it back up in the morning. It's moments like that that just can't be replaced by a remake. But I think I've said everything that I needed to say. I know I didn't cover everything like the bosses or the island or the new game modes, but everything that I said are things that I really wanted to point out and the things that I absolutely adore about RE4. This isn't necessarily a review video, but more of a why I like this game and why I think you should too type of video. I mean, I could say a lot more, but if I really wanted to go all out in a video, we would be here for literal hours. So thank you everybody so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed watching my take on this masterpiece of a game as much as I enjoyed making it. I give Resident Evil 4 the general manager position. Congratulations, son, you're off to do great things!